Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Legends Franchise Association, or LFA. I'm so excited to be here tonight to run through the first official stream in a while for Legends. My name is Awesome Sheep, or Sheep. I'm joined here today with Soren, who will also be breaking down into what we're pretty much going to be going through for the next 2 hours.
Yeah, so this is the Legends franchise draft, and it's going to be an auction draft process. So it's a little bit more complicated. Essentially, how it's going to kind of come out is that whenever it's time, the teams are going to spin a wheel. And on that wheel is a listing of all the different teams available. Whichever team it lands on is going to have the option to pick a player. That player is then going to go up for auction. Each team has 50 points allotted to them. So that's 50 points to work with. That player will go up for auction, and every team will have the opportunity to bid for them. And once the player has gotten their final bid and that's what they go for, it will be announced. Here you hear a little jingle, just like for the NFL draft, actually. And the commissioner will come in and will announce the pick, the player, and the team they're going to. But yeah, it's going to come down to a game. Who is going up first, how much they're going to go for, and what teams are going to go for them.
Yeah, I've already gotten a couple of insights on some of the managers' draft strategies. And it's definitely going to be an interesting night to see how some of these tactics play off here.
Absolutely. Some are going in depth in strategy, looking at stats, looking at the players. Some are leaving it to chance. So it's going to be a very chaotic night. But before we kind of get into it, as we're just a couple moments out, do want to give a big shout out. Happy birthday to JS Chaotic. Happy birthday to you, the head of content as well. Just wanted to give a heads up that all of the information I have here, so all my talking points for all these players, if you disagree with any of them, point your fingers at JS Chaotic and Pelora, because it's all from their content page. So deal with that. But just a few, but we are going to be starting the draft here in just a few moments. I think we're going to be getting the wheel spin as well coming up.
And the first official wheel spin. Now this will be fun. First team, Absolutely. First player.
There we go. You see all the teams on the board, and who's it going to come down to?
Alrighty. Looks like it's going to give right into Flannel Esports, right on the center there. So we're gonna have to a little bit spicy see what they're gonna cook up for their first pick and see what they're going to start the bid for.
Alrighty, and it looks like the first player on the board is Floragato. There we go. And as we go to pull up some stats, you can see we do have a player card for all of the players in the draft. We'll be showing you every single one of them throughout the entire process, all 50 players. And that will give you some rundown, but we'll also have a little bit of the extra stats to sprinkle in on top for you.
Second person to hit 10K in League Arena. I mean, it's quite interesting. We're already right off the point with the points right now. They're starting to go up.
So to give a little insight, we are not going to be telling you who is winning the auction at any point or who's going in. It's going to be up to the very end, the commissioner to announce, but we are going to give you a rundown of how many points are going for it. And we're already seeing the bidding starts at 1 point, and we are already seeing Floragato go up to 14 points within a matter of seconds of going onto the board. So the first pick immediately is going to be going for some heavy point totals.
Yeah, I mean, first person, and I feel like we already got a pretty good banger going on right there.
Yeah, already going for over the average of what people should be expecting to spend. So very interesting.
I'm just really interested about the whole.
Alrighty, there we go.
All right, everybody. We've got the first pick of the draft here. It's going to be 14 points for Floragato to Divine Ascension.
Alrighty.
There we go.
There we go.
Floragato, that is Ascension. Yeah, and that is a bot lane ADC pickup. So teams immediately going for their hard carry early on. And this was actually someone we expected to go high. Notably, not one of the players that was labeled as like best in slot, if you checked out any of our content. So not one of the top players that we had listed and, the top 5, but this was one of the players we were expecting to go top 10, top 15 off the board. So right about where we
Starting
were
with
expecting.
ADC too is kind of like what I would think would be a
Oh,
relatively
yeah.
good strategy, especially if you want to play through that for what you're thinking and what you want to do. So ADC definitely a very strong pick.
Yeah. We get to pick number 2, back on the wheel.
Alrighty, looks like it is going to be Syndicate. Pick number 2 here. See what they plan on starting to bid out for the next player.
There we go. These first couple picks from these teams and whoever ends up with these players is really going to show how I think the series is going to play out. And yes, it looks like Jake is going to be the next player, Jake Almighty. And here we go. You see player card, Blue Auto Draft Season 1, Ruby MVP and winner. College student going to school for physics, and they like Civ games or Civ-like games. Sure, they're eating well with Civ 7 just coming out. Peak Diamond.
Right.
So high value
so
pickup.
The peak rank is actually very interesting, just because that is like kind of around like the top of what you would expect for this league. It's right around that rank out period. So you would think just based off that, it would be a pretty hot pick, and as we can see, it looks like that is exactly what it's going to be.
Oh, yeah. And this is actually
really
not all that
high.
surprising. This player actually had a really good performance at the exhibition matches last week. They are a Karthus main in the jungle, and they're known for kind of having some sneaky picks and, to quote, really causing pain to pretty much everyone on the Rift that's not him or his teammates. So this is a high value pickup for them. Alrighty.
Jungle, especially Karthus jungle, it's one of those like very interesting. It's either you ban it or you let it through and you try to just push through it as well. So
Absolutely.
it'll be
And
fun to
even
see.
though he's not particularly known as a Karthus one trick, but that's a really good asset to have, especially because you either force the team across from you to ban it or pick it.
There we go.
All right, everybody. We've got Jake going for 19 points to Syndicate.
Oh,
19 points. That
so
is almost
the org that actually started out with the bidding actually ended up getting the players. So
yeah, and I must have wanted
they
it.
knew what they
19
wanted.
points is a lot. That's
they knew what they wanted.
Yeah, no, that's almost 40% of their points. If I was a comm major in college, so don't quote me on that number, but about 40% of their points immediately off the board for them. But yeah, so heavy point investment, but we're gonna keep it moving. I think the wheel's gonna be coming up in just a few moments here. Going to pick number 3. Alrighty.
It wanted to. It was looking like it wanted to go to TD, but it is going to be ID, the third team here, that's going to select the player that they want to start the bidding on here. I wonder how often the team that actually starts the bidding is actually going to get the player they want. So we're currently 1-for-1 for both sides.
Coach Pizza is going to be the next up on the board. That is actually expected a best in spot, best in slot, best in spot. That is our number 1 pick, or at least the communal number 1 pick for the support role. Here you can see top season 7 top 5 Teemo and A lost to Dorado in more finals than I can count. KMZ's son, peak rank Diamond 3. Yes, this is big Teemo player. Big Teemo player.
I don't know how I feel about that. The devil himself.
Yeah. All right. So just a little bit of explanation here. Thank you in the chat for asking questions, for clarifying. Teams are disappearing off the wheel. They are disappearing off the wheel when they get the player. So if you roll, you get to pick the player, but you don't end up with it, you stay on the board. But if you pick up a player, so you spend, so Syndicate, 19 points, no longer on the board to be rolled for. Alrighty.
All right, we've got Coach Pizza going for 17 points to Mint Gaming.
Mint Gaming. That is actually
Alright.
really interesting pickup. That's a support going round one, pick one for a team. It's not very often you see a support
It's
get that first
usually
pick to build around.
Yeah, I would say the support is definitely one of those things where, obviously depending who it is, best in slot, definitely. But it's one of those. I feel like it's a little bit harder to find a team that might be able to play around. I feel like it kind of like specifically puts you in a situation, makes it harder. But it looks like we have Final Boss Esports for the next team here, and all the points so far. I would say I mean, they're roughly like around the same, about 3 to 2 points from each other. So I haven't seen anything too crazy yet. Nothing that's breaking 20.
Yeah, we haven't seen anyone truly break the bank yet. But it looks like this could be a contender here, as it is Melly G,
There we go.
who is another best in slot. I believe it's for the top lane. We're already seeing it breaking past 10, and it's been maybe up for a second or two. But yeah, victorious 4-time All-Star, 1-time split MVP, 1-time finals MVP, 2 times champ. And G stands for, but
Nobody knows.
I'm in 3. But yeah, no, this is a player that can go for some serious points, and we're already seeing it go.
I'm expecting this one to be able to break through 20.
Yeah,
Oh,
looks like it's leveling out. Okay. Should hear in just a moment.
Value, I'm not gonna lie.
I agree. I thought that was going to be a break bank.
Yeah.
All right, we got Melly G going for 19 points to Final Boss Esports.
We got 19 points. I agree with you. I thought that was going to be a pick that breaks the bank. That's a player you build the team around. I think that's actually kind of a steal.
Yeah, I thought like for all these picks, I thought Melly would have actually been able to break it there. I would expect it to actually go a little bit higher than that, but of course, like it's one of these things where it's like LFA is a little bit different, so it's not as common as a draft strategy. I want to say for a lot of orgs or people are really used to. So I think a lot of people are playing closer to the chest.
Yeah, everyone's playing a little bit more comfortable right now.
An ID. Going to be the next
already. ID, otherwise known as Iridescent. And it's going to be Bouncy.
Another big name.
Yeah, this is actually...
He got a lot of stonks from the exhibition matches.
He really did.
And it seems like he is definitely a hot player. Look at that. Wow.
This is actually technically not one of our best in slot players, but I have them listed as a best in slot. This is my pick. They've already broken 20 points. This is a player, like you said, was shouted out for being a great leader and stepping up for the team. They were already like on the top of the draft board, top picks, and then Rex Cat having a little bit of issues not putting in the time. It really also raised that stock up. He very easily could be best in slot for that jungle pick. So not surprised to see the value already. Oh, yeah.
All right, we got Bouncy going to Black Twitch League for 23 points.
Here we go.
There we go.
The first one to break 20.
And you gotta say it's worth it. Like you said, that the stocks went up. There was that exhibition
they
match.
shot up after those matches. I mean,
Yeah.
must be. I mean, I'm interested to see how much it's actually really going to pay off for Black Twitch League.
Yeah, that immediately
Quite
puts a target on
interesting.
their back too. They know they're going to be a good team. Off rip. Alrighty. Will
Listening to
is
the
going to
ID
land
again.
on ID again. Back to back.
All right, let's see if they can get the player this time.
Now, question: do they go for Rex, the other best in slot for the jungle? Do they keep the strategy? Okay, and they are going to go for Rex Cat, so they're
Exactly
sticking to
what
the
you said,
jungle.
Sword.
I called it. Also, just a little heads up to the Twitch chat. If the team does get 3 in a row, so if they do not land Rex Cat here, they are going and they get selected one more time. So 3 times in a row, they will be removed from the board, just like if they got their pick. So definitely going to want it. It looks like.
So this one, point value was high. It wasn't low, but it actually went by very quickly in comparison to all the other picks.
Very quickly.
All right, we got Rex Cat for 15 points going to TD.
There we go. And that was a best in slot. So unfortunately did not have the best showing at the exhibition matches. That was mostly due to lack of effort put in, but that does not hinder their skill at all. So that is still a really, really valuable pickup for 15 points. And that's kind of a
for best in
steal,
slot for 15. I mean, that's a steal for TD. It is. If you just go based off like all like the rankings we have for all the content for the exhibitions, it's technically like I feel like the biggest steal we've gotten so far. So I think TD's going to be happy about picking that up.
Oh, I thought we were going to get ID 3 times in a row.
It was
no,
close.
We are going to get Flannel Esports. I believe got the first pick of the draft, but did not get their player. Excuse me. So they're going to pick up, or they're going to try to go for JDK. Yet again, another best in slot. So we got a couple of picks. So, the players that people wanted, maybe not the best in slot, but the players that people wanted in the first couple. But now we are just seeing the best players of the best getting taken off the board.
And then as we look at the points starting to rise up there.
Already.
So
we've already broken 15, making our way to 20.
See if it can quite get over that mark. Ooh.
Okay.
Close.
Commissioner should be here in just a moment. Alrighty.
All right, we got JDK for 19 points going to Divine Ascension.
Alrighty. That's the first team, I think, to pick up 2 players. Very expensive on top of that. That's over 30 points invested just to get those main 2. Though to be fair, that's a best in slot mid laner and their preferred ADC. So you can't really give them flack for it.
Yeah, but Divine Ascension definitely going to have to watch those points there. It's definitely going to be a little harder for them to grab exactly what they want going later on. Let's hope that they're happy with those 2 picks, as we have High Alert going on here for the second, or for this team here. And I think that's the first time. It's the first time that High Alert was picked so far, and got Master Pones as the player that they're going to start the bidding at.
Oh. They also go by Sinestro. But this player notably is known for having a strong grind mentality. Has a little bit of issues with KDA, at least in the OP.GG, but the numbers and the time played means that they are willing to put in the work. So I'm not surprised a team is going to want a player that has that dedication. And start with, nah, I'm washed.
Nah, I'm sure you'll be fine, man. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Notably, again, Diamond 3 there. So towards the top end of our ranking. But yeah, solid pick.
All right, we got Deathmaster Pones going to Final Boss Esports for 5 points.
Alrighty.
So next
That
team that now has two players, and only 5 points for Master. So
yeah,
final
that
boss.
was
I mean, gonna be very happy with like the still keeping like half their points still. So
oh yeah. And that was a player that was expected to go, high to mid round. So getting him for 5 points, that's a steal in my opinion. I think they're really good to pick up a player of that caliber.
let's throw it back
ID
to
again.
ID. Let's see if they can do it.
See
if they got it in them.
Alrighty, and the player going up is Lizzo Mukbang. Let's see if I can pull up some of their stats as we get their player card up. They allegedly always wins. And they say draft me for $1 and it's a guaranteed dub. This is an Emerald 1 player.
Yeah. And apparently a big champion pool as well. So, and as a jungler, I mean, that can mean so much. I mean, jungle, there's like, what can't you pick in there if you can make it work?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, on the op.gg's listen that there's 80 unique champs. So the depth of each champion quality may not be ideal, but you can't say that they don't have some flexibility. So definitely an asset.
All right, we got Lizzo Mukbang going for 7 points to ID.
And they get their player. There we go.
They
got it. Right? It took 4 attempts. And honestly, that's value right there. And again, that's 80 unique champs on hand. So you can't say that you might not have a back pocket pick or a counter in the jungle, which is always helpful, especially in the current meta.
Yeah, I'm expecting a lot of unique picks coming when we start to get into the season here. But Summit Esports look like going to be the next team to start the bidding for the next player.
I believe it's also the first time that we're seeing them get the option.
They were ready for that.
Beartel. Yeah. Actually, notably, Beartel was one of the players that going into the exhibition matches was one of the picks that we weren't expecting to go very high. They're a Shaco one trick pretty much, but they had an outstanding exhibition match. We're already seeing those matches come into effect here. These people's stocks are rising.
All right, we got Beartel going for 1 point to Summit Esports.
I mean,
they wanted them, they got them.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool. That's a crazy steal. I mean, it's whether or not you think whether a player is good or bad. Like, I feel like that doesn't really have any merit about the fact of like this is a point system. So just getting a player, period, and only having to spend the minimum amount of points. I mean, I feel like that. I mean, that's huge, right?
Yeah, and like I said, he performed great at the exhibition matches. So to get it for 1 point, if they can keep that streak going, that form up, that could easily be one of the steals of the draft so far.
Okay, back on the flannel here, and finally, my man,
Grotus. Oh,
this man.
They wrote a whole elevator pitch.
Oh yeah. And Grotus, he's such an amazing person. I mean, I know him personally, and he's such a blast to be around. I've actually have coached a team that he was a part of in Legends actually, like years ago, back in like 2021. So it's the history is long, and he's definitely so many things I can say about this man.
Yeah, and I'm seeing here from our reports here, our scouting, that this is the kind of player that you put investment into, you play around, and they could easily win you a game. So this is one of those players I'm expecting to go for quite a bit, and we're already seeing it. I think we're wrapping up bidding now, though. But yeah, no, I'm not surprised to see that people were wanting for this player.
Oh yeah,
it's insane value.
All right, we got Angrotus going to High Alert for 19 points.
There we go, 19 points. That's the first player for High Alert. That's, again, one of those players you could build around. So I think that's a solid pickup. It was expensive, but at the end of the day, that could be a game changer.
Oh yeah, jungle is one of those. I feel like it's kind of alright to start with as well, especially with I feel like a
Oh yeah.
man of this like vocality. But I wonder who it's gonna be.
You know what?
Oh,
I think it's ID again. I think ID
oh,
has a chance.
yeah, I think it's ID. That little sliver there, I think it's ID. Oh
It's just
no, it must have barely missed
even when
ID.
they're out, they're still got a chance.
Yeah, I still got a chance.
Here we go. Last team on the board gonna get. There we go.
All right, looks like it's
It's gonna
going to
be
be
Duff.
Defoe here,
Oh,
and this is a
this
this pick
this is a player.
is yes, he really is. Definitely a very vocal, very loud, very just personality. I've also have known him for a very long time. He was actually a part of the same team that Angrotis was on that I coached all those years ago, which is
Nice.
kind of funny. So maybe if High Alert can actually bring him in somehow, that would be amazing. It'd be like a little bit of a run back for those two.
Yeah. This player, actually, Defoe, was already high up on the board for many teams. This was one of those players that we expected to go in the first 10, first 15. But on top of that, again, at the exhibition matches, I'm going to keep saying it because the stocks really did rise for a lot of players. This player, Defoe, became a bit of a leader, stepped up and led their team to some really strong matches, some really strong appearances, and took what was already a really good stat line, an already pretty good draft value, and shot it through the roof. So, not surprised to see it go for a lot.
All right, we got Defoe going to Flannel Esports for 13
Oh.
points.
That's not as much as I
That,
thought it was going to be. That might be a bit of a steal.
It's unfortunate, and I will say that it was actually very close. It was very close. He actually did almost go to High Alert, just to let everyone know that. So he almost did get on to Ingordis's team there. It was close. It was very close. But Flannel able to just barely steal that away.
Yeah. And again, that's the kind of player you can build around. So first pickup for Flannel Esports. You really can't go wrong with that. Again, you're picking up a leader, which is one of those intangibles that you kind of want to have on your team. You can have best players around, but no leader. Makes it a hard sell. Here we go.
Here we go. All the teams back up here. Once again, we're going to get a spin, and not going to be ID. It is going to be High Alert, so maybe they can, try to get a little bit of comeback here to find something that can work with Angrotis here. And it looks like it is going to be Ren.
Ren, another high value player. As we pull up here, BUL Draft Season 2 winner, AGL 2022 winner. Kind of a chill guy, and he's Diamond 4.
Kind of a chill guy. I mean, how can you not like that, right?
It's just a chill guy. Yeah. That being said, not going to be a chill guy for any bot lane or ADC purists, as he is a mage enjoyer. He is known to cause a little bit of trouble down there. But he could easily be a pickup with so much value, especially depending on how much he goes for here. And it looks like it's actually Mage Enjoyer.
Yeah, his top 5 are ADCs. So I believe it.
There we go.
All right, we got Ren going to Summit Esports for 11 points.
Already. There we go. And that is an ADC pickup, obviously. But again, we're already seeing a Summit pick up probably arguably the two most important roles. They got their jungler and they got their ADC. The ADC is a little bit more stable in terms of a pick. Remember, Barenthal, not quite known for being, very varied in their champion pool, but a little bit of chaos with a little bit of stability is never a bad thing, especially when it's the players you want.
He's going to make it up. He's going to take that one, and he's going to look past it, look on the pass for it.
Yeah.
Coming up to the next split here, but we're going to have PD going on here. I saw the D. I thought it was going to be ID, and I was like, no.
I thought it was ID for a second, too.
ID's living rent-free in our head, I swear.
Super Slaying is going to be next up on the chopping block. LXC inaugural Fearless Draft champion top laner. Lost to Valka on Silas versus Malphite. Peak rank of Emerald 3. I believe another one of those top tier picks. Honestly, I'm excited to see how much they go for because top lane has some real depth of quality.
Oh yeah, consistent top goes so much for a team. It's well, if you play competitive, I feel like the biggest thing is having the peace of mind of a good top side, or at least a consistent one. So,
yeah, especially in current meta, top lane is always kind of iffy, but if you can have someone to hold it down, beautiful.
All right, we got Super Slaying going for 14 points to TD.
There we go. They get their player as well. So it's a little bit expensive, 14. That is actually something we projected to go for a mid-rounder. But again, the top lane quality, that's not a knock to any one of the top laners. There is some real talent in many of the positions here, top lane being especially one of them. They get their player. And now we go on to the next pick here, next team going up. Looks like it's going to be Final Boss. Barely squeaking by.
Alrighty. So we got top jungle for TD. I feel like that's the only the only team opposite team that actually has a side that goes into it. With Divine Ascension having the kind of bot side already, we have Matt Quan going on here. MVP and Victorious.
Another top laner.
Go for it.
I was going to say another top laner, and here you can see our stats, MVP and Victorious, finally unretired, Emerald 4. Again, we're seeing teams put a lot of emphasis on this top lane now.
Yeah, during the time in Victorious, he was definitely a name that was brought up a lot. I definitely do recognize it. So it's one of those things where it's still kind of fresh. So it's really good for teams to like kind of look at that and be like, okay, well, how fresh is the MVP? I would say it's relatively fresh. He's a good name here, so definitely a very hot
notably
pickup.
Here. Information I got, strong veteran, notably has a very interesting champion that teams usually have to play around. But you put investment in them, you get value out of it.
All right, we got Napquan going to Summit Esports for 17 points.
Okay. Summit is officially a majority of the way through their team. And it's that's a rather expensive pickup.
The 1 point Baratel. It's coming in clutch here.
Yeah.
Still 21 points
Absolutely.
Even with 3 players.
That actually puts them below average still. That's still it's barely under 30, don't get me wrong, but that's still under 30 points for 3 pickups. That Barenthal pick really is coming back to bear fruit for them.
Oh, we're going to get it.
We got ID.
Woo! ID.
Let's see. Can they do it? They're going to get their pick. Let's see if they can actually get the player they want.
Yeah. They're looking for it. Oh, here we are. The GOAT himself.
GOAT chicken time. The player that the stonks have exploded. They say they never won. They won during the exhibition matches. They incredibly strong. They went undefeated during the exhibition matches, on top of also beating out the best in slot mid laner. So they went from being one of the bottom tier picks that we had on roster to being the GOAT. They are the number 1 to go for. This is best in slot already.
Yeah, he is. I mean, his stonk shot up so high. I mean, I've never won. Peak rank plat 1. I mean, this man, he's going to go places. The potential is there. I see it.
He is
playoff
the future.
Right here.
Absolutely. Guaranteed wins. Nothing but W's.
All right, we got Boat Chicken going for 13 points to High Alert.
There we go. Picking up their mid laner again. As much as we were joking around, that is a very good pickup. They did have an excellent showing at the exhibition matches. They were one of those players that we rated far too lowly, frankly. So had a really good showing, and the stocks are already showing. They're so well won it right now. Like every team is sad they missed out on Goat Chicken.
Oh, yeah. Definitely here, as it looks like it might be Divine Ascension. Looks like I wanted to try to go there for
Okay.
Syndicate, but not quite. Divine Ascension looking to pick up their third member. See if
Alrighty. The bane of the entire content team. Every time they had to write out this man's name,
Oh, yeah.
X80 HD, LAS Fall Split 2021, Jungle All-Star, BOL Season 2, Ruby Division Champion. They used their $40 from carrying Lizzo to buy jungle coaching. They promise peak of Diamond for another one of those players that we expect
Let's see the
to do
coaching,
well.
right? That's
Absolutely.
bold
See the
statement.
improvement.
We'll see it in the gameplay, you know?
Absolutely. And it looks like the drafting, the bidding is rounding out here, and it went for a decent amount. It's one of those players we expected to do well in the draft. So I'm not surprised.
All right, we got X80 going to Flannel Esports for 12 points.
Alrighty. Flannel
Jungle.
officially only down to 25 points. They've picked up only 2 players, so not every team doing quite as well as Summit, sitting at 21 points pretty. Some people are struggling with their points tally, but they're getting the players they want, and they're solid players. Defoe and X80 Graphics is not a duo to look down on.
Yeah, and as it goes longer, of course, the points get lower and lower. So even some of these players that we think are really good are going to have a lot lower point values just because later into the draft here. And it didn't quite get there. It was teasing
so
us.
close. It's so close.
Black Twitch League going to be the team selecting to start the bid. They still need another player. Black Twitch League, Syndicate, Mint, and ID are the teams that still need at least a second player here.
There we go. This team notably is the one that picked up Bouncy, and they're going to go for Lol Caven, another player. Again, we're still at the early round, so every player has some serious value here. Neon Division champion and MSL, a 30-year-old father who drives a Zamboni at an ice rink. Honestly, that's so dope. I've always wanted to drive a Zamboni. That's props right there.
He's flexing. He's flexing at this point.
Flexing on us. No, but this team really wants their players. They already have picked up Bouncy, who's one of those players we expected to go for a lot. So they're trying to build around them, and it looks like the bidding's over. Have they gotten their man? Did they get the Zamboni driver?
All right, we got Lol Caven going for 8 points to Mint.
Okay.
Well, see, that doesn't surprise me. He did come from the Mint server, so it would make sense for maybe some other orgs maybe trying to pass it by, but Mint kind of understanding who this person is and understanding maybe the true strength, the hidden potential there.
Yeah. They know the value of the player they want, so they went and got it. And that is the bot lane sorted for them, so they don't have to worry about challenging for another ADC, which is always a nice thing to worry about when the wallet's getting a little bit light.
Syndicate.
Yeah.
Going to be the next one. They're still looking also for their second player here and see if they can get it. It's going to be Knighton.
Yeah.
Being put
notably. Here. They picked up Jake as well, Jake Almighty, who cost them quite a penny, 19 immediately off rip. So they're going to go for Knightian, Lightning Esports 2024 tourney winner, TMB tourney finals. They won an egg cooking competition back in high school culinary club junior year.
Yo,
proud of you.
Good
Diamond
job.
4. that is crucial information. That's competitive energy. I want that competitive energy. Okay,
exactly.
I don't care if it's junior year of high school. You won that.
Culinary? This guy, man. I mean, he loves competition. He craves it. I mean, he won.
And you need that. You need that drive. That drive. It's about drive. It's about power. Getting wrapped.
All right, we got Knightian going for 13 points to Syndicate.
There we go.
And they got the man.
They got him.
They got him. They got their man. That is a good pickup. Bar the Dwayne the Rock Johnson quotes. That is a really good pickup. That was, I think, number like 2 or 3 in terms of draft board on top support. So picking him up 13 points. Again, it's pretty costly. Syndicate are down to 18 points with 3 players left to get. So it's not ideal for them, but they're getting the players they want. So you can't really look down on it.
And okay, final boss gonna be the next one here, and they only have 2, looking to make it 3. Question is, are we gonna see a team that sits on like 1 while all the other teams maybe have 3?
Possibly
going to be the next pick.
Seeker. Okay. That is.
This man.
Oh no, I'm getting yelled at. Microsoft is not happy with me. Seeker. That is another support. Is again another one of the
sooner. Actually.
Yeah. Seeker is another one of those top picks for supports. You can see EDLX. I don't know how to pronounce that. EDLX BOL CL Season 1 champion, BOL Draft League Season 2 Sapphire champion. He likes long walks on the beach and watching the sunset.
How nice.
How nice. Peak rank is Diamond 4. I already got the bidding over with.
All right, we're going to have Seeker going for 11 points to Summit.
Okay. Summit rounding out. That's another really good pickup for Summit. Again, for pretty cheap. That was, again, I think of the top 3, I think it was like Coach Pizza, Summit, or not Summit, Seeker, and Nightian were like kind of the top 3 in the pool for support. So to get that for 11 points, round out, I think that's player number 3 or 4 for them.
I think it's 4.
And they're still on par.
So just one more.
That's really helpful.
And we got it. Let's go.
There we go.
Let's see it.
There we go.
Make it 2. Make it 2.
Yes,
Come on. We got this.
Frozen Forever. Here we go.
100%
already you can see.
Rate. First thing I saw.
Absolutely. EDL Season 1 MVP and EDL Season 1 champion. So not only most valuable player, but champion to boot. This is a player we don't have too much information on, but we expect him to go pretty high. But they are a standout mid pick. So this is one of those top picks again. Players, teams are looking to get value out of these players who dropped a little bit farther down, taking advantage of the teams who bid 19 in the first, 5 pickups.
Playing the long haul. See if it
absolutely
comes to fruition here.
It's all a mind game.
Okay, we got Frozen Forever going for 18 points to ID.
There we go.
There we go. That is a big pickup for them. They really needed a pickup. I mean, they got Lizzo for 7 points, but that was probably their biggest name they've gotten. It's one of the biggest names still on the board. So picking it up, it's costing 18. So it's a healthy chunk of change, but they'll take it. That's another player you could really play around. It's also in the mid lane, one of those roles that you really want to have a good player on.
I mean, 100% Anivia ban rate, right? I mean, makes draft easier. You know it's going to be banned every time, and if it's not, free win, right?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. That's all about getting that value. There we go.
Black Twitch League going to be the next team here. Still sitting on 1. They are the last team, actually, sitting on 1 here. So we'll see if they're finally going to be able to make that 2.
And honestly, I'm not really surprised to see that because, again, they put down the biggest chunk of change. So they're the only team to break 20 points, invest it, but they got bouncy, which is pretty impressive. But now they're going for Frisky MMO. They still haven't played Huawei, the peak of Emerald 2. I believe this is one of those picks that maybe not in the first round per se, but it is a pretty solid one overall. This is another one of those players where truly a grinder, put a lot of time and energy into the game. Maybe not the best metrics, but overall ADC with a lot of time and energy and a lot of dedication to it.
Yeah, if you have, when you have bouncy, right? It kind of sets you up like, oh, okay, maybe we can play towards top side. So maybe you want someone that's like very hardworking, dedicated, someone that's very like consistent, right, and has a good champ pool to follow along with that.
All right, we've got Frisky going to Black Twitch League for 7 points.
There we go. That's actually a solid pickup. Again, can't really invest all too much because they're a little bit light on funds, but that puts them at 30 points even invested. So they have 20 points to round out the last couple. And that's not a bad pickup. A lot of their champions that they currently play are in the meta, so they'll get a lot of value out of a pick like that.
It also didn't require a lot of points as well, which is actually really good considering they put so much into bouncy here. Is Divine Ascension going to be coming up? It's the next team to start debating here. Currently still sitting at 2. Icy Rain.
Rain. That is interesting because I believe that is the last. I believe that is the last of the best in slot players left on the board. Notably, this was described, or they were described as the top laner in the strap. Good skills, good experience. Top 5 pick I had noted down. I really thought they were going to go really, really early, but they had a little bit of comm issues during the exhibition, which apparently has lowered the draft stock down. So this could be a steal for a team that is only looking to invest or still has some money to spend.
Ooh. For how late? I'm surprised.
Wow. Yeah, no. That's kind of crazy for this late in the draft.
Right, we got Icy Rain going for 21 points to ID.
Which is crazy.
ID coming
ID.
up. They were sitting behind, waiting to use all those points on someone big, and it's not even them picking, and they swipe Icy Rain, the best in slot, away from Divine Ascension there. So
that's even with 4 points for 2 last players. So it's peaks and valleys, but they're gonna be happy to get that player. Icy Rain again.
Finally,
really good.
My man Metro finally gets up to here. I've actually just played some solo queue with him a few nights ago. His peak rank, that's actually incorrect because he actually did hit diamond. He literally just hit diamond like a couple of nights ago, and these were made obviously before that. So it's good player. Definitely.
I have here first 2 words for my little spiel is mechanical demon is what I have. Very good mechanically. Didn't struggle for comfort picks, but given a little bit of a wider pool, the mechanics are there. That's gonna be a real good pickup for whatever team gets them.
All right, we got Metro going for 11 points to Final Boss.
Okay. There we go. That is 5 points. Oh, excuse me, 11 points. Excuse me, I'm blind.
I'm interested to see the dynamic because a lot of things that I feel like a lot of people say and a lot of people notice is, like I said, one trick.
All righty. It looks like we have a couple of minutes here before we get to our next pick. So kind of going over, start off, Sheep. Is there anyone really standing out to you? Any teams? There's one team to me that's really standing out here that's doing well. But besides Summit, really, any other teams that are really standing out to you?
80% of the roster already picked out here. And if you look at the point values in contrast to a lot of the other teams here, it really comes back to Baratol here because the 1 point, again, it is so huge in the drafting process because it does allow the flexibility to grab these other players that you want because you do have so much points left, and it's allowed them to almost fully get the roster that they want so far here. And with 10 points going into the later stages, I feel like it's a lot.
Yeah, especially when you consider that every other team has, like, the most another team has is 25, and every team that has 25 still has to pick up at least 3 players. That's not a lot of capital to work with. So even though they have 10 points left for the last player, that 10 points still puts them almost above average for how much they can invest. They can almost outbid most teams on average for the players, which is crazy. So the drafting strategy, I agree. That Baratel pickup really has shook the entire draft. It's so valuable. But for me, other team to look at particularly, I do like ID a lot. I know we were joking about ID constantly getting picked, not getting their players. But while they're down to 4 points, there is still a lot of players left in this draft that can go for really cheap, that are good, solid options. And they picked up Icy Rain, the best in slot, and Frozen Forever, who was like a top 3 in the mid lane, as well as Lizzo, who was another just solid jungler. So besides Summit, I think ID, despite their low point total, has probably some of the best odds right now coming out, at least on paper, with one of the best teams.
Yeah, could definitely come in clutch here.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
I think it's
like
gonna be
I said,
ID.
I think I
think
see
it's gonna be
ID in
ID.
there.
There's a chance.
There's a
99.
chance,
They have the
maybe?
0.01 chance. Can't even see it on the
Ah,
board.
wasn't quite there.
Not quite. Alrighty, and it's gonna be
going to
Psycho,
be
the
start
player.
here.
Yeah,
So,
Psycho
another one
Ghost.
of those picks where I expect to maybe see a little bit of storm going on here, just based off what we saw from the exhibitions here.
Yeah,
And
notably,
season
here,
2.
been playing since season 2. Old head,
Been a
really
while.
been
That's
playing.
same with me, actually. I've been playing since season 2. Oh my. Playing this
Oh,
game for
wow.
what, 13 years, 12 years? Whew.
Jeez. Producers feeling old.
I feel old.
Yeah. Yeah, this is one of those players, notably not particularly set up for hyper carry in a sense. Doesn't really play the champions that can outright win you the game, but is one of those players that their champions are always just really solid in lane. They very easily can either just barely win lane or keep the lane neutral, which is a godsend in chaotic rift matches.
Okay, we've got Psycho Ghost going for 10 points to Final Boss Esports.
Okay.
I like that. Love that from Final Boss. Just what he has here, with how he's a stable player. He's a very stable player. He's not really hyper carry, but like you look at Final Boss and you look at towards like the bot side of the map. You have Melee, best in slot. You have Metro, and again, like Metro is one of those players where a lot of people are like, he could be really good, he could be really bad, just because a lot of people think just one tricks in general are a very slippery slope. But I know this man; he's a good enough player. So, Divine Ascension once
Not
again
ID.
gonna be paired. Not ID, unfortunately. And it's going to be Displayer coming out here. Let's see if they can pick this up here.
All
forced
right,
by a friend to do this. JK. I don't know. You sure about that? Blink once if you need help.
Oh my. Let me see as I pull him up. Yeah, unbench the Kench. Solid Kench player. Peak Emerald 4. Solid win rate. Healthy number of Kench games, to say the least. Not one of those players that teams are going to make real big swings for, but he's a solid pickup for pretty much any team in need of a support right now.
Player. Love it.
All right, we got Displayer going to Divine Ascension for 3 points.
Got the man. Got him
3
cheap.
points.
Can't really argue with that.
For third player, still holding on to 14 points with 2 slots left. It's not horrible with Divine Ascension. Definitely doing better than ID when it comes to the point department, but
yeah, averaging 7s. 7's pretty good right now, especially across the board. I think 7 points is kind of where most teams are sitting, where that's like kind of the most they can invest. besides Summit, of course, whose draft strategy is one for the ages. Here we go.
Come on, let's go.
And
Let's do it. Come on. Yes.
ID! Let's go!
ID first round. All right, 4 points,
Alrighty.
guys. What you gonna try to use it on?
what do they got? What magic are you gonna pull out of that? Humble. Alrighty. That's actually, I think that's a pretty solid pickup. No accomplishments listed. They have CTE. That's so unfortunate for you, my friend. But I believe this is actually a player that's
And-
people are considering might be a bit of a steal. Where's Humble at?
Yeah, it's just
One.
gonna be
There we
so
go. Yeah.
unfortunate for ID at this point. They keep on getting they
Yeah.
keep on getting picked as we keep seeing, and it's if only 4 points, it's gonna be really hard for them to really choose. So do they just maybe choose people they don't want and expect not to get them?
Possibly. I mean, this is a player that we expected to go mid-rounder, so see him go this late is a little weird for me. But this is a hybrid ADC/mid player. They are, I think, going for bot lane in this split, but they are really good with flexibility. So it's one of those mid-rounders that could really get a lot of value.
All right, we've got Humble going for 9 points to TD.
Alrighty.
It's gonna feel right at home there. So
I
Humble,
mean,
that
that's
came
not
from
bad.
TD. So once again, another one of those
Okay.
situations where it's gonna be feeling right at home. It's gonna be almost feeling no different for him playing with this org, and just
And I do want to say, I want to point out here, kind of wild cards, a little bit dark horses there. That was Super Slaying on top lane. That was oh god. My object
on.
permanence. I just completely forgot what's happening. Flannel Esports is picking, but I'll finish my point when the wheel goes away. There we go. Super Slaying on top with Rex Cat in the jungle and Humble as your ADC. That's a solid lineup. Super Slaying is like a top 4 for the top lane. Rex Cat was best in slot, and Humble is not a bad pickup. That was a mid rounder, but that's easily like a top 15. So that's real
We
strong.
got
But
Billy
next up,
coming up here as the choice for
Billy
Flannel to
Badass.
start out the bid, and only one championship. I mean, that's one more than a lot of people can say. So,
Yeah. You take that.
yeah,
Take every accomplishment.
Right, you take it, and you run. That's pretty much how it
Absolutely.
goes
This is
sometimes.
This is a support pickup, so only a few left on the board for supports.
All right, we got Billy Badass going for 5 points to Flannel Esports.
Alrighty.
3 picks, 20
Solid
points,
pickup.
so 10 points per pick. Not bad.
Not bad at all. That puts him on par with Summit. Someone can finally challenge 10 apiece. Give them a little bit of a run for their money. But yeah,
I'm
no,
so
Flannel.
curious to see what someone's gonna get for their mid laner. They're just the last little bit going on here, just to fill up their slot. 10 points.
Oh yeah. And it's notably very interesting. A lot of top laners still have to go. A lot of mid laners. I really thought mid lane was going to be one of the first out of the pool, as well as ADC. I think we still have 4 ADCs to get drafted. So, and our ADC pool is actually very, very stacked. So I'm surprised we don't see. Got it. All right. So unfortunately, we were in an ad break for the last announcement. For anyone who was unaware of the last announcement, that is Billy Badass going to Flannel Esports. 5 points puts him down to just 20 points left, 10 points apiece. It's a really good pickup for them. Again, Billy Badass, solid player. 5 points is a bit of a steal. And also Humble. Another player, the ADC for TD got picked up for 9 points. That was also kind of an underdog steal, a mid rounder with pretty much early rounder potential. Really solid pickup, really solid laner, going to a really solid, well rounded squad right now. So,
yeah, And I meant, like
Very unfortunate.
I mentioned that
No one likes
we
pick ads.
didn't hear was
There we go. We got the
but
do a quick
Humble
run
also did
through of the two
come
player cards.
TD as well. That's something I did mention. So he's going to be feeling right at home here. So
All right.
it's
Oh, Juanito So. I don't think they've gone up yet. I think that was the wrong player card.
my poor bad Juan.
There we
We
go.
go. Got Humble
It's
now.
it's not a Riot sponsored game stream without a little bit of scuff. It's fine, guys. Blame
Don't
Twitch.
worry about it.
They didn't have ads. We wouldn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But
If only ad blockers.
alrighty.
Great.
There we go. Back to
All right, we're
spin.
back.
ID is still on the board. Come on.
I don't think
not
it's gonna
gonna go.
happen. But Summit, here we go.
Summit.
All right.
There we go.
What's your
10
strategy
points
here?
on the board. 10 points on the board. One player left to pick. Who are they going to go for? It's going to be Rhett.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Okay, just seeing what it immediately went to for the bidding. I mean, it's about what you would expect, to be completely honest here. It's definitely going to be very difficult for these teams coming up here that have the lower points to get what they want here.
Yeah, and I did mention before that mid lane still has a lot of open slots available. There's still a lot of really good players that teams want to invest a lot of money into. Rep is one of those high roaming skirmishing champs. Seem to be the preferred master for them. Which team is picking up a player?
All right, we got Rept going for 14 points to Mint.
Alrighty. Big investment. That's over half their remaining points. Only 11 left in the last two. But can't say it's a bad pickup. Rep is a good player, despite the fact that they typically play jungle and ADC. They're playing mid.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. Well, what do they got here?
Fine.
I mean, Smolder, I mean, come on. I mean, it's practically mid lane champion. Corki, mid lane champion, practically. It'll be fine.
Absolutely. Oh!
Is it going to happen? Come on! Go!
Come on! No! A little bit more! No! Flannelly Sports. Saint of Aegis. This is another big name. This is a top round pick. Falling really far in the draft, but this is one of those players that could really go for a lot of points.
1700
again, another one of those early runners. We expect it. Notably, according to the scouting report, does tend to take some 50-50s, has a really good brain for the game, even though sometimes while the brain says one thing, their hands do another. But overall,
StarCraft player. Masters in StarCraft. Do you know how hard that is?
That's very difficult. Very difficult.
I played that game for
and they have 1,700 skills on their account. That's also difficult.
This man, he's a grinder. I mean, he has fast APM. I mean, scrappy 50-50s.
Absolutely. APM's insane. But yeah, notably smart player, experiments with their picks on the Rift, as well as some really good intangibles. So this is one of those players we expect him to go really early. But players want him now. Let's see what he goes for.
All right, we got Saint of Aegis going for 11 points to Flannel Esports.
Alrighty.
Second team, or not second team, third team to get the 4 players here. And contrast between Final Boss, Summit, and Flannel. Summit still holds the most points out of all the teams that currently have 4 players. So I mean, they have an advantage to those teams to finish out their rosters at least.
Oh yeah, and that is going to be the 4th pick for Flannel. So they're also in that final state with 1 player left on the board. Final Boss Esports, though, are going to be the team picking the next player.
Alrighty, so another one of those teams, 4 players. Let's see what they want to try to finish out rounding out. They need a support still, so it would have to be the remaining pool of supports for them to grab.
Notably,
And
only 5 points left.
Yeah, only 5 points. So I mean, it's either like what are you gonna do? You're gonna pick someone you don't want, expect not to get it, or you're gonna try to maybe like hopefully get someone that like maybe people just like don't want to bother for and try to leverage those 5 points here. That starts becoming the problem here, especially in comparison to some of these other teams that still have quite a bit of points left. But it is going to be Shark Bait coming up as the choice. And not much to go on here, but Pink Platinum won. There you go.
Yeah, not
there's a lot of experience in the competitive scene.
Yeah. So, notably, one of the lower ranks in the pool of supports, but also notably has some of the best stats of the support pool. So even though they're a little bit in the lower rank, there is still some really high potential for this pick to really pop off if they can get them for cheap. This is one of those high risk, high reward players.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we've got Sharkbait going for 6 points to Black Twitch League.
So unfortunate. They outbid them by 1 point. It's so unfortunate. It's fine. They got it. Sharkbait again. Like I said, high risk, high reward player. That was actually one that I labeled as a dark horse on my sheet. So very intrigued, and being put on a team with Bouncy and Frisky. Solid team to round that out. 2 players left to get 14 points. But yeah, solid pickup.
All right.
Alrighty.
Are we? I'm waiting for like the first team that finally gets everybody. Finally gets a full-on roster out here. High Alert going to be the next choice here. One of the higher point holders here. They're actually tied with Syndicate there for holding the most points. It is going to be Agent C6 as the option.
One of the last ADCs on the board. There's only a couple of them left. They are going to school to become a classical trombonist. Really, all across the spectrum. League players. You find them everywhere, from Zamboni drivers to trombonists. But notably, veteran of many seasons, ADC. They're actually first time back. They're returning from a vacation where they took a trip around the map and trying out a bunch of the different roles on the Rift. But they're back in ADC, and it's one of those things of they've been around, but see if they can hold down the ADC role yet again.
Yeah. Kinetics, definitely the thing that matters most when it comes to that.
Absolutely.
All right, we got Agent C6 going for 12 points to High Alert.
High Alert, get him.
6 points.
Oh, right.
5 and 3 between the 2 slots left for High Alert.
Yeah, it's costly, but they get him. And that is another one of the high tier ADCs gone. We're now firmly in the mid rounding for bot laners. So yeah, all the top tier picks are officially pretty much off the board.
And Syndicate gonna get their chance to pick up their third player. The only team left that does not have their third player left, and it's going to be Lord Beach.
Lord Beach, believe it is a top laner.
Sure is.
One
made every role at some point.
Again.
He's good at none of them.
Every role.
I'm sure that's not true. Diamond Force. I mean, you had to be good at least one of them.
Yeah, I notably here I have high skill player with a wide pool of unique champs, 57, but little in terms of specialty. None that they lock down and play in particular. However, they are an aggressive top laner, picks like GP, Aatrox, Renekton, Mordekaiser. So really good if you want to play through that top side. So still a solid pickup. And again, top lane is one of those pools of players that the entire pool seems to be really strong. So this is yet again another very early rounder going very late, something that we were not expecting.
All right, we got Lord Beach going for 14 points to Syndicate.
Alrighty.
Defoe actually called it in chat. He actually called it. He thought he was going to go to mint there, or unless Syndicate just wanted to spend all their points in. I mean, that's exactly what happened. Only 4 left with 2 slots remaining, the lowest average between all the teams here for the players at his left, and is going to be Summit to try to hopefully maybe finally round out their roster here. I mean, you look at everyone, and there's only 3 teams that can beat them. Would be Mint, BTL, or Divine Ascension here. But considering that Mint and Divine Ascension already have their mid laners, it is up to Black Twitch League to really outbid Summit.
Yeah, Outrage going up onto the board. Notably, I believe this is the last of the early round picks that we had on our board. So they're going for the last real big mid pick that they can go for. And again, they've done their draft well. They have some of the most points to spend. It's just a matter of how much the other teams are willing to risk, because they can technically outbid them, but it's going to be at the cost of one of their other positions.
It's so funny watching the bets, because it's just a ping pong. I mean, there's only so many teams that he can go on from the amount of points, and Summit has to use all their points. There's no point not to, because it's the only player left.
Oh, absolutely. There we go.
All right, we got Outrage going for 10 points to Black Twitch League.
Not get picked up by Summit.
They outbid them. The only team that could. So next time, Summit gets picked, they are guaranteed to get what is left.
Oh,
because no other team. Well, actually, no. I think TD still needs a mid lane.
Yeah, there's one. TD still needs a mid laner, and they do have enough to outbid. They would just have like 1 point left.
Yeah, it's true. TD still requires another player after that. Summit doesn't. So TD has to really think about it when they go up against Summit to try to pick up a mid laner.
Beg for Mercy is going up on the board next, I believe. Yet again, to the top laner. We're seeing top laner. Oh, or is this jungle going crazy?
Full-time esports worker. That's what we all hope
Good for them
one day.
Volatile work environment. Good for them. But yeah, one of the last top laners left on the board. I don't believe we have a lot in terms of sample size, in terms of what we know about them, but they seem to have a good sense of teamwork from what was reported after the exhibition matches. So they have a solid draft stock. And again, pretty much at the end, the pool for top laners.
All right, we got Beg for Mercy going for 12 points to Divine Ascension.
2 points
Okay.
for Jungle.
2 points for the last jungler for Divine Ascension. And really scraping the bottom of the barrel in terms of points to try to get players.
So yeah, it's really interesting when you get to this point, because it's like you have these dynamics where it's like what players are still needed for certain teams and how much points do those teams still have, and do we get it? Come on, give it to us.
There we go.
Finally, ID's been waiting with their 4 points. They tried to get a 4th player.
Alrighty,
or
Raikou, 3-time TEC champion and MVP, led leaderboards for multiple weeks in the BOL draft. Probably the greatest to ever do it. How's that going to affect LeBron's legacy if you're making claims like that? Come on, man. But Emerald 4, solid. There's not too many spots left. Raikou going on cheap.
All right, we got Raikou going for 2 points to TD.
There we go.
This is so interesting. 2 teams need a mid laner. 2 teams have 10 points. That need that mid laner. So Summit and TD are quite in a dilemma. It's pretty much whoever's faster and whoever's really to just jump on it and get there first.
Summit could pick here. Nope. Looks like Final Boss is going to do it. But yeah, no, this could very well be. And these are 2 really good teams as well. These easily could be 2 top teams in the league on the split. And they're going to be competing for that last mid laner spot. So it's going to shape out real nicely, but looks like Kaoj, is that how you pronounce it? KOJ? There we go.
KOJ
One of the
for
last
support.
Yes, LRS 2021 summer quarterfinalist, LRS 2021 fall finalist, BODL season 1 quarterfinalist, LXC season 1 draft champion. They went to the same school of a current LTA player. I'm also Omega washed.
Welcome back, KOJ. Nice to see an old guard from all the way back, 2021.
All right, we got Cow J going for 5 points to Final Boss Esports.
That's the first team to wrap it up as well.
Final Boss Esports. It was Final Boss.
It wasn't
sitting on 4 players, the longest out of anybody, and Final Boss is the first team to finally solidify the roster.
Yeah, and to read that through, that's Psycho Ghost on top, Deathmaster Pawn in the jungle, Metro Dragneel on the mid lane, with Melly G and KOJ in the bot lane with the ADC and support, respectively. And we're going to have an extra minute here to kind of go through, especially seeing as we have the final one. And I think most of the picks are kind of set. There's not a lot of overlap, but notably, there's still 3 teams that need to pick a top laner. I just realized that. That's a lot of competition for top lane with not a lot of points to be left, because Mint, while they still need one, they still need to pick 2, and High Alert still need to pick 2 with only 6 points.
Syndicate need 2 for only 4 points, but Syndicate is again, weird dilemma. So Summit and TD are kind of like, they're in a tie right now. So like if Summit gets picked,
or a standoff.
It's pretty much a standoff of like, okay, if Summit gets picked, are they going to pick the mid laner they want? Or are they going to try to trick TD and be like, pick a mid laner that they don't want? Hope TD bets all their points for it because they need the mid. But Syndicate, if they get choosed instead and they decide to try to pick the mid laner, it is going to be a betting war between Summit and TD, right? And it's pretty much whoever is willing to like just get in there first, throw it out there. Hey, this is 10 points. And Syndicate's also in just a weird spot in general, because regardless of what team gets their mid laner, whether it be Summit or TD, Syndicate is always going to, isn't going to be able to get who they want for mid. It's just not going to happen unless, some astronomical like strategy comes out from either of these 3 teams. So it's a really weird situation, and it's interesting to see.
Absolutely. We are going to get the wheel spin here. Come on. ID, it's 50-50.
Half and half. Come on.
It's half and half, and we lose.
There's no way.
There's only 3 left on the board. And just for context, that's Molly Whoops, Boogie Nerd, and Stratty are left on the board. Notably, all 3 of them are mid-rounders or above. So no team is going to get a bad option here, but it looks like Summit's going to be picking Stratty time. Not really, it's okay, but they love to golf. Emerald for Peak. This is one of the mid-rounder options that were still left on the board. 2 of the 3 are mid-rounders. And it's really interesting to see what happens here, who they go for. And
oh my gosh, the bidding. Oh no.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And it's so weird because it's not a lot happening because there's only like 3 teams going, but also it's depending on what the teams want, and some players could be blocked out. It's just really complicated in the chat. It looks like I think we have a pick. I think we have it. I think we have a draft. I think this is going to pretty much decide the rest of the mid lane between the last 3 picks.
When you're in a situation between these 3 teams, it's really about it could really be about spite because of the point totals that are left.
All right, we got Stratty time going to Summit for the remainder of their 10 points.
Alrighty. Summit gets their pick. They get Stratty time. That's exactly who they wanted. They picked, so they got him.
Syndicate tried. They tried.
They tried.
And Summit just kept on one-upping them to the point where Syndicate couldn't go on anymore because Summit held all the points. TD? I mean, they could have had a hand, but, it was...
TD backed off and said, "You two do your business." Especially because now with Summit up the board, TD gets their pick. TD
and we got ID!
ID! Let's go!
That's crazy. All the other times there was like a 99% chance for one team, but this time it was 100. Crazy.
100%. Melee Vane is going to be the player up on the board. And, yeah, I don't think there's many options left for the ADCs. I think who's picking it? I know this is Syndicate still has a pick to go for ADC, so they can go for it. And okay, yeah, there's only 3 left, so it depends on who they want.
All right, we got Melee Vane going for 1 point to ID.
What a steal! What a steal! Alrighty,
So
while they reset the wheel.
2 players that only went for 1. We got Baratol and Melee Vane. Melee Vane was on the towards the end, but Baratol was actually towards the beginning. So it's a pretty interesting contrast to see here. And I think it'll always be interesting to just see in general some of these lower point players and see how they actually contrast to people that were highly voted on. Like we have like Melee, for example, for 19 for ADC, but some of these other ADCs like Melee Vane going for 1 and see how they kind of contrast to that. It was just meant to be.
There we go.
I don't know what's going on, but
second round they didn't really get much in terms of getting the picks. But they do get it. gonna go for Booty Warrior or the Booty Warrior. They're that guy.
Because only
they're that guy.
Need a support, so they're that guy. Whoever doesn't get
that
this
guy,
person, whether it be High Alert or ID, I mean, they're gonna be upset. He's that guy.
He's that guy. That's a big loss, losing that guy.
Yeah, exactly. Huge loss.
All right, we got the Booty Warrior going for their remaining 3 points to ID.
God, I can't wait to cast for ID. Alrighty.
So got another team fully fleshed out here. The 3rd team to be fully fleshed out. Final Boss Summit. Then now ID. First 3 teams to finally get their full 5-man roster.
Yeah. So right now it's a little bit confusing right now because some teams only have 1 pick left and it's the only pick off on the board. So while the teams are deciding what's going on, let's kind of round out because we have quite a few teams now. We have 3 different teams that all have kind of rounded themselves out here with about 3, 4 with only 1 pick left. So we have a majority of the teams. Sheep, any standing out to you? Any big names? Anything on this board causing you for concern?
I'm really looking at the so like for the completed teams right now, the 3 completed teams that we have so far. I'm looking at kind of the point values in comparison to everything else. So like ID has a big standout where like a lot of their points are majority into 2 players, their top and their mid laner. While with Summit, it actually seems a little bit more balanced with Baratol obviously coming in as that early pickup for 1. And then Final Boss, two 5s rounded out with like lower end bets with like 1 really high bet.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of value. The team picked out have done really, really well to balance out their points left. But it looks like we've got the kinks worked out in the bidding chat, and it looks like we are going to go over to Mint Gaming for their pick. This is a team that actually still has 2 picks left to go, so they can either be going for a jungler or a top lane. And it looks like they're going to be starting off the bid with Daro. I believe that is Stuck Daro is the official name.
Daro.
I think it's stuck with
the
2Ks.
Official name for
2Ks. There we go. Yeah, they're confidence. Best top laner in the league. Bad in solo queue, but Smurf in comp. Diamond for this is a mid-rounder pick we have left. This is one of the few top laners we have left. But very high value pickups in terms of their champ pool, and especially some really good picks that are currently in the meta. So even though we don't have too much information on them, they've got some good metrics.
All right, we got Stuck Daro going for 7 points to Mint.
Here we go.
I actually I have a little extra information with Daro because I've seen him come around a bit in Victorious and in Legends before the rebrand happened, and what he said in his card, I feel like is kind of true, where it's like not good in solo queue, but really good in competitive, and I feel like that speaks really volumes just based off my personal experience watching him play and playing with him. It does seem like he does really well in competitive and just struggles a little bit more in solo queue. So I feel like there's actually some truth to that.
Absolutely. And very different environment. So you could really find yourself struggling in one and excelling in another. But Flannel Esports really only have one left, the ADC. And in fact, they're fighting just Syndicate. And I don't, as much as they would want, I don't think Syndicate really has a. They've got, I think, 4 or 5 points for 2 picks, and Flannel have 9 for just this one. So I think Flannel just kind of have full reign here. But we'll go for the bidding anyway.
Yeah. I wonder who it's gonna go to.
I wonder who it's going.
All right, we got Juanito Soul going for 9 points to Flannel Esports.
you gotta give credit.
Wasn't even attempting anything there. As soon as Syndicate even put one bid above,
they tried.
Flannel was like, "Nope,
Syndicate went for it."
Wasn't even trying. It was like, "Nope, Juan's ours." And I have a lot of personal experience with Juan. This guy, he's a monster. I don't care what anyone says. I've supported him in the draft league before, and he's a lot better than I feel like was maybe showed, to be honest. Really solid player.
All right. So we start rounding out the final picks here. TD. Again, last one really to go. Oh no, it's gonna happen again. The Syndicate.
Oh, no. We got Syndicate and TD fighting. One has more points than the other. Molly,
Syndicate, no.
Season 11 champion.
No bids. Okay.
Full circle around all the roles as well. And
there you go. Yeah, really nothing Syndicate could do. Syndicate, very unfortunately, 2 players left in 2 very contested positions.
Okay, we've got Molly going to TD for 10 points.
Syndicate. They knew.
I feel so bad for Syndicate. That's back to back where they just had no. I give them props for trying.
Point for 2 players. I mean, it's a tough spot. It really is.
Alrighty, Divine Ascension.
With
their last pick,
going to be looking
to
get the jungler. which Mint still needs. So they are actually going to be fighting over Mint on this one.
Yeah, I think Mint just. I believe Mint also just gets it. Because I think are going down for the last one. They have 4 points. But they went for it at least. General Shepard is a very good player. I think he was supposed to be a mid-rounder, at least in our drafting. So
All right, we got General Shepard going for 4 points to Mint.
it is team number 6. It's team number 6 on the board. Full teams locking out, and only a couple left to go here. I think most teams are only looking for one player. The only one really left that's looking for 2 is Syndicate. Very unfortunately for them, but they're gonna have a chance to pick.
Finally, finally they get to
I
choose.
believe.
So this is interesting, right? So it's, I think they're actually fighting for. So I'm looking through everything because they need a mid and an ADC, but I don't think
actually. I think they have. I think they have full
selection. They do.
I think right
selection.
now. Yeah, Boogie Nerd. Sorry. I think Boogie Nerd. Okay, Boogie Nerd was the player we expected to go really early. That was supposed to be a high pick.
I was about to see. Yeah,
I mean,
I was looking at that earlier. I was like,
that's
right.
I know we've been talking about steals, but that might be the steal of the draft. Getting someone who was expected to go really, really early and getting them, I think, last in slot for their pick. That is a slept on pick.
He's gonna roll. He's gonna roll over the entire draft now. Syndicate. I mean, like I said, a steal.
Yeah,
at this point.
And you also have to take into account that, like, if you're a Boogie Nerd, you just went last, despite being one of the like higher ranked draft picks. That's gonna fuel you. You're gonna want to prove people wrong. That's a solid pickup with a player who now has a lot of motivation.
All right, we got Boogie going for 1 point to Syndicate.
About what we expected.
Oh, we expected.
No, I was really expecting someone
big
to
ADC
get, like,
pickup.
a 6th roster on their, But yeah, just ADC pick, and again, it's going to be uncontested for Syndicate. I think the only contested pick we have right now is top.
Yeah, and that's a little interesting.
Ascension still needs jungle, and no other team does.
Yeah, it looks like they're probably gonna get it. There we go. Yep, barely hits them, but again, I don't think anyone's really gunning for jungle now. This top lane is really going to be the the main interesting one. But Zundel here, new to competitive play, highest ceiling to prove everyone wrong. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I love to see new players coming into esports.
One split because of my dear I love Lilia. And you know what? As a fellow Lilia main, love that for you. Love that for you. I am definitely not platform, but I love to see it.
Don't worry.
Absolutely.
Happens to the best of us. Hey, I used to be like bronze, man. I mean, I've been playing this game for like 12, 13 years. It took a while before I think I could hit this game.
Alrighty, we've got Zundel going for 1 point to Divine Ascension.
Absolutely. And rounding out Divine Ascension, I mean, that technically is the last pick for the jungle, but that is a very high ceiling pick. Well, true, it's going to be a newer player to the game, and it still has a lot of room to grow and learn. But frankly, that's a solid team to be playing with, to be growing and learning with. Florgato, Desplayerung, JDK, and Big for Morrissey. Those are all some really top tier players. That is nothing to sniff your nose at.
All right, so now we have an interesting conundrum here. So High Alert,
Yes.
6 points, BTL 4. Both need a top laner. High Alert pretty much gets pick, right? So it's completely dependent on if Black Twitch League is going to pick someone where it's like, okay, are we going to want this one? Are we going to hope High Alert goes for it? It's because they beat you out every single time.
Yeah. And then it's going to be Seven the Almighty, who I believe is a Poppy. I don't know if Poppy OTP, but definitely a Poppy player. Notably, one of the lower value picks in this draft, but Poppy itself being a one trick, rather useful in the current meta.
Well, yeah.
All right, we got Seven the Almighty going for the remaining points, 4 for BTL.
All right. And
High Alert now just gets, gets. I feel like it's interesting actually to see a team. I feel like this late still have 2 choices left for their picks here.
I think for the first time, ID might not win. I think ID might not be on the board.
Give it a second.
ID gets the 6th.
It was close. It was close.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. High Alert having the last 2 picks being kind of left out onto the curb, trying to just get what they get is definitely going to be interesting. But that being said, it's kind of because they've had very little points left to work with. But the points that they use, they got great players. And Grotus, Goat Chicken, and Agent C6. Those are 3 really solid players. So they get them. Obviously, not going to have your first or second or third or etc. pick on the top or in the support role, but you got 3 of your most important roles picked out with great players.
We got King of Spades going to be High Alert's pick here. Teemo main. I mean, there's a lot that goes behind that statement.
All right, King of Spades is going to go to High Alert for 1 point.
There we go. Yeah, well, you said that's the resident Teemo main in the pool. I believe Coach Pizza also plays Teemo, but that's on the other side of the map. Teemo up on top is King of Spades realm. And while it's an OTP, it's a one-trick pony pick. They do have some others and some trick plays in the back pocket. So, again, there's still value to be had there. Absolutely. It's not the worst pickup in the world. That is still a solid pickup for top lane.
Yeah. We need a show match between Coach Pizza and King of Spades. Mid lane, both play
running
Teemo.
on ARAM. Running on ARAM. See it on the bridge.
Right, so now we're really spinning to see who is going to be last in terms of to finish out their roster here. It looks like High Alert going to be the team that's going to be last on picking their player, but Syndicate going to finally finish out their roster here with Ripped to the Max.
All right, we got Ripped to the Max, sold for 3 to Syndicate.
Syndicate finally finishing out their roster here, so.
Wonder who it's going to be. Wonder who we're going to get. Notably for the last pick, Ripped to Max is a newer player, offers some real versatility. So again, towards the end of the draft, but that does not mean anything. That's still some real value and some real growth and potential to really shine here. The later picks, the only thing they have to prove is that all of us are wrong.
Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest thing when it comes to draft leagues in general. It's always about proving your worth, proving people wrong, upsetting expectations, and just with how things are ran now, it really is more about that, seeing how everything is kind of put onto like a point system. So I feel like you just have that much more to prove.
Oh yeah, alrighty. Thanks for coming in.
All right, everybody. We got OT Blitz going to High Alert for 5 points.
Whew.
Oh,
Finally,
last
we're
little
here,
bit.
everybody.
Yeah, we're
We got all
done.
the
Just to kind of
teams.
wrap up OT Blitz. That is a ADC pick, or excuse me, a support pick. Used to be an ADC main, so a little bit newer to the scene, specifically in terms of playing support. So again, for the last couple picks, while they are the last couple in the draft, most of them have been newer players, really high ceilings, are looking to really prove their worth. So there's really no bad pickups here. I think every team has done pretty well. Some have kind of shown, but I think the across the board, the picks have been solid.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I feel like when I look at all these teams, I'm looking at, like, let's say I look at like BTL, for example, and I say, oh, they got Bouncy here. And I was like, maybe that's a favorite. I look over to Syndicate, and it's like, oh, they got Boogie Nerd and Jake. But then I look at the other teams, and I see, like, oh, I see Coach Pizza, I see Daro, and then I see Goat Chicken and Crotus. I mean, there's you keep on, like, having this, like, mentality where you, like, keep on searching through all these teams, and it's like, wow, all these teams actually seem like good. They actually seem they can contest with anybody, really.
Absolutely. Just kind of to wrap it up because I do it all the time. I mean, as we cast as we go further on the split, you'll see that I do it often, but I like to do predictions way too far in advance. It's my favorite thing to do and to make bets. So, shape, let me know. Of the teams, I know you said you like a lot of them, but if you had to pick a favorite going into week one, who do you think is going to have the best showing? Who's going to have the best week one showing? Very little time to practice, very little time to strategize.
Uh See, there's a lot of new people I don't recognize here, but there's also a lot of people I do recognize that I've either coached, I've played with competitively within either Legends / Victorious, back during that time. It's really hard to, like, put in specifically here, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna do
All
High
right.
Alert.
Well, personally, ah, there we go. High alert. I was gonna say, despite Summit I think Summit is the odds on. That is a really solid team. They had a really good draft strategy. I actually think if there's gonna be a dark horse and someone who's gonna really pop out on map or the first round of the split, I think it might be Flannel Esports. But we are going to send it to a quick break real quick. And when we come back, I think we're going to have some interviews. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with some very interesting people to give us a lot more information.
just went through today. We have Toxin here with us to interview to kind of give him a rundown of what he thinks.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
absolutely. Yeah, well, I'll kind of start you off. I mean, first off, easiest question of the night. Like, how do you feel? How you feeling after the draft? Because obviously a lot of stuff happened that we weren't expecting. Players went really early, players went really late. Did you get the players you wanted? How did everything go for you?
To be honest, I feel like my draft's a little illegal. Like, I did really well. I feel really good about myself right now. And yeah, I'm feeling good. I feel like I got a top 3 player on my personal list in almost every role. The only one that I didn't get top 3 player was mid, but mid I was like the most okay getting whoever, and ended up with someone I actually really liked more than I thought I would. So I'm feeling pretty good.
All right. My biggest question for you is, who do you want to face?
Who do we want to face? So the obvious answer is High Alert because they have Agent. And I'll tell you right now, Humble is livid that Agent went for more points than him. He's like, there ain't no shot that Agent C6 is worth 3 more points than me. And so I was like, yeah, you gotta show him on the Rift, buddy. He goes, what happened to the 90 in-houses we played? What is this? And yeah, the rest is history. So I'm looking forward to that matchup for him.
Alrighty. We love drama here. We love drama here. So I want you to answer this the best you can. But there's gonna be a little bit of drama, and I apologize, but I'm very interested. If you had to choose a team that you think underperformed, team that maybe didn't get everything that they wanted, maybe might be reaching a little bit in week number 1, who do you think? Who do you think's gonna have the roughest time?
Ooh, that's a hard question.
Yeah, it's hard.
I feel like the opposite question is really easy, but I think it's ID, but I love them, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I think Icy Rain really good top and Frozen really good mid. Like both of them probably top 2, top 1 players in their roles. But then it kind of falls off from there. Like their bot lane didn't really impress that much during the exhibitions. And Lizzo's Lizzo, if you know him, you know what it is, right? So I think their solo lanes could just win on the entire league for sure. But after that, it might go a little bit downhill.
What would
Alrighty.
you say biggest surprise? Like, out of everything you saw in the draft, what was the one thing that really stuck out?
I think I'm gonna say biggest surprise as it pertains to my team. I just don't know how I got some of the players I got at their point values. So like if you look at top lane, to be like I was the one that put up Super Saiyan for bid. I thought he was the best top laner, definitely. I think there was maybe one other that could contend, which was Napquan, who went for more points, which I understand. But every other top laner went for similar points as Super Saiyan, and some of which, like Icy Rain, went for even more, like went for 20, like 7 more points. So that was kind of crazy to me. For jungle, it was like I had a top 2, a top 3-ish. I thought Jake's comms were insane. Bouncy was like the one who you picked to win the game for you. He was like the superstar MVP. And then you have Rexcat, who kind of just griefed in exhibitions. But if you look at his underlying stats, you look at the things that he actually performed in other leagues, definitely should be a top player. And I got him for lower than Ingratus, or lower, around the same as a mid-tier pick. And then, yeah, Humble again. I think Humble was probably the best ADC, if not top 2, top 3. And I got him for middle to low value. I got like the same as Juanito Sol, who went last or second to last. And then finally we get to Raikou, and this may surprise people, but I had Raikou as a top 3 support. Crazy. And it's not
That
because
is
he's in.
crazy.
It sounds crazy, but
Yeah,
for
2
me,
points, yeah.
I got it for 2. Like what? I think he's the type of player as well that I was listening to comms for his team, and the vibes he was giving out in those comms, always upbeat, always positive, and that combined with, I think he also had Jake on his team, kind of like barking out the orders, saying like, we're gonna do this, right? He's saying the orders, and Raikou's hyping him up like, I love this shit, let's do it, we got this, boys, right? And that's the kind of vibes I want on my team, right? I know.
I mean, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So
All right, we're gonna have to go ahead and cut this short so we
You're
can
good,
get
you're
more
good.
people to come in through and get their thoughts on it. But thank you for your time, Toxin.
thank you so much. Have a good day, boys.
Yeah, have a
Yeah.
good night, man. All right. I think next up we have, very interestingly, purely incidental, we have the coach for ID, Prophet, coming in. Thank you for joining us. Or is he still joining? There we go. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Prophet. Were you listening into the last interview? By
Oh,
chance?
yes, I was, and I heard
Okay.
exactly what
I don't
Toxin
think I
said.
even need to ask it. I want to. What's your thoughts? I mean, I love drama here, but like, you've been kind of called out, my man.
Yeah, what was that about? He was literally talking to me like, "Oh, we can be friends. Like we're both like blank D TD ID." And then he says, "Oh, you know what? You know what? You know what? I'm gonna let it slide though, for now, until we play."
Absolutely.
Yeah, we had definitely a little running gag with team with constantly trying to get you to pick. You definitely popped up more than a lot of of I think any different team. I think you were picked the most.
I think that's true, and I was laughing every time you'd make the joke, so I appreciated it. I thought it was good.
So yeah, definitely looking to face TD.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm really interested in facing a lot of these teams. I think it should be a good split.
Absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly. I think I said it before, but I think the teams all drafted pretty darn well. But kind of round this out. Just same question as last manager. Was there any real surprises? Any players, not even just on your roster, but like any players that you thought were going to go really early or for a lot of points end up being steals? Anyone that you thought was going to be real low end up going for real high and be a banger?
You know, I'm happy with how my team turned out. At the minimum, it should add a lot of content for the league, so I'm always happy with that. But man, right after I got Lizzo, somehow Baratel, who I thought was really good, went for 1 point, and I couldn't bid on him.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
So
that
1
was-
point
that was-
there, I think that's a steal. I think that was a complete steal.
We said too. Pretty big steal for Summit.
Oh yeah, 1 point, especially that early in the draft. Oh yeah, easily. I think probably still, especially as it sets Summit up for a very, very solid draft.
Yeah, I know that there's different opinions on the players, but I thought he did really well in the exhibition games. I thought he had good comms overall, but I guess other people did not agree.
Well,
Alrighty,
I mean,
guys.
I mean that's the whole point for draft, right? It's about disproving certain expectations, and I mean I feel like we just have a good roster of teams here.
Yeah, it should be really good. Shout out to KMZ who literally did my draft plan for me. He told me that the draft plan needs to be get Lizzo, he always wins, and that's what I did. So that's all because of my good friend KMZ.
We'll check back on
Absolutely.
that, towards the end of the split and see how true that statement is.
Yeah, we'll hold you to that. I'll notate that. We'll keep track of it week to week. Absolutely. But I do think we are going to wrap up this interview. We got one more left to go. I think we're going to be getting Quinn, but Thank you
Alright.
so much, Prophet, for
Alright,
coming to
thanks.
speak to us. We look forward to see how your team does in week number 1.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for doing all this, by the way. It was a really, really cool experience. I hope that everyone enjoyed it as much as I did.
Fun.
Absolutely. We're just waiting on Quinn.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Quinn. Nice to see you back here. It's nice to see you as a manager. And I mean, big question for you, man, is how you feeling after all that?
Oh, I'm feeling so good. I like jumped out of my chair at the end of that draft. I got so much of what I wanted.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's great to hear.
I commented on it at the very end when we were talking about, who do we think was the best, who we had the best drafts. And well, I think Summit seemingly had the best one going into it. I think you have a dark horse. This is a solid team.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is a pretty stacked team. This is my pick to go the farthest, I think. So, I mean, outside of just getting some real good players, was there any real surprises on your team that you did not think you were going to be able to get? Or it's maybe
I'm actually
some
going to
of
hold
the-
off for one moment to answer that question because we're kind of stuck in an ad break.
Oh, we're stuck in ad break. Twitch, man.
Yeah, don't you love Twitch?
It's wonderful,
Always at the
right?
best times, too.
Absolutely. Right in the middle of the interviews. Yeah.
Literally, like, worst possible moment, but whatever.
I'm just looking at your picks. This is not the question, but man, you got some picks on some really healthy point totals. You did not have to
Right.
break the bank for any of your players, and you did real good on the picks.
You got to.
I'm going to talk about Econ in a moment for sure. That was a big part of my
Yeah.
strategy.
That's crazy. I'm just looking at it. I'm just like, that's really settling my brain. Oh my.
I feel like full of steals here and there.
I'm shocked at how cheap I got some people. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
it's fine. Look. It's like those like WWE on Netflix. If you're in Canada, they just give you the commercial breaks anyway. Like, it's footage. It's bonus content.
Literally
It's
behind the
fun.
scenes, right? Yeah, we start the trash talk now, right? So like people don't get
Oh,
it
God,
like,
no.
after the ad, they have to go back
Start
and
the-
watch it.
Yeah, start this trash talk so people don't see it. And
All right,
then
who am I
Legend-
flaming? Who can I get away with flaming? Oh,
Do it. We'll send it.
yeah.
Well,
Could you imagine?
Count them down and just say the most outrageous flaming thing you could say. Just call someone out. You have no right.
I think I could say. I wasn't watching chat. I think I could say anything I want to Metro Dragneel, and he'd just have to deal with it.
Not my boy Metro. Why don't you trash talk Ben? How about
Because he
that?
knows me well enough that, like, he can deal with it. Anyone else, I'm not going to trash talk someone I don't know. But if I know them, it's fair game.
We're live. We're good. We're back.
Woo!
The watchers have been rescued from Twitch jail. Wonderful.
We're back.
So to get back to the questioning, sorry for the little break, but looking at your team, insanely good value for some insanely good prices for, in my personal opinion, one of the best teams on the board. What are your thoughts? Who did you really expect to go for a lot more expensive? Who did you get on the steal?
So, yeah, frankly, I didn't. Nothing could be a surprise because I was planning to get like nothing I wanted in the first rounds. My entire strategy was pure econ. I deliberately didn't put up my like preferred players when I got called on. I only picked like the best in slot players. Because I wanted to just drive up their prices, drain everyone else's bank accounts, and then kind of slide in there, throw my wallet around at other people, right? So I think the big shocker is just like, when I put up Defoe, I had everything flowcharted. I'm like, okay, if I put up Defoe, I don't get him. I put up JDK, don't get him. Like all these other players, Florigato, then that'll kind of lead me to Metro, and I have like a flowchart that gets me a jungle that pairs well with his playstyle, and then they just gave me Defoe. And it was, I'll take it. It's a huge win. Like, Defoe is a very strong leader, even if he doesn't, 1v9 games, right? So, like, jungle pool strong. I can get pretty much anyone I need. I don't have to, break the bank for a jungler. We get ADHD, who is a very solid performer. And then I'm kind of looking, support, top. What do I get? Which role do I put back up? I'm like literally tracking everyone else's econ on my own spreadsheets on the side. I'm like, who can I compete with? I'm looking at the teams who have supports left up, looking at the teams who have tops left up. I think it was like Mint could still kind of contest me on top, I wanted to say. So I kind of deliberately went for Billy Badass, who I think is honestly, has won several gold leagues in the past, recently promoted up here, like very strong developmental prospect. I think Peloria was saying too. I was talking to him like before the draft, like this guy's potential is like super, super, super high, right? So I put up Billy, get a steal on Billy. 5 points is criminal for a player with this ceiling, right? Saint was someone I was planning to pick from the very, very beginning, just because I've worked with him like so much in the past. Uncontested on econ, and then of the 3 teams remaining with 80 carries, I have the most money. I get what I want. So it's
That's
crazy.
really what it came down to towards the end, which is having more money than everyone else, and just being like, hey, I can just get wherever I want.
Exactly.
Even if I don't get picked, I could just outbid everyone.
Yeah, I had like really hard limits for all of the best in slot players. So I got no best in slots, but I got very good players in every role, all of which have like strong personalities. None of them are going to hard tilt. All of them are going to work together. Right?
Yeah.
And I just get everything. So
Do I hear playoff run guaranteed from Flannel? Is that what I'm hearing here, Quinn?
I am thinking we are very likely top 3 and very likely second split number 1.
Wonderful. Well, that's some big news. That's some big swings there. We'll be holding that to you, and we'll be keeping up with that week to week. But I do think we have to wrap everything up. Thank you so much, Quinn, for coming and speaking to us. Thank you
No problem. Thank you for having me.
to all the managers who sat with us and drafted their teams and went through the whole process, as well as all of the players and switching up to the draft board. Thank you to every single person on this board for choosing to play in the splits, for playing the exhibition games. We look forward to watching and commentating for you for the next couple months. You can join us on Tuesdays. 8 o'clock is when start. So 8 o'clock EST. Also, special thanks to our producer Ice. Special thanks to the entirety of the Legends management, especially to our commissioner for the night. Giggle.
Me? Oh no, yeah, I don't know.
You're with me on the desk.
Yeah, I demoted for tonight, guys. It's okay. I'll be commissioner tomorrow. Don't worry.
Absolutely. But again, thank you for you too. Thank you for joining me on the desk.
Absolutely.
I appreciate everyone coming and watching. But I think that's pretty much it. Come watch on Tuesdays. It's going to be every Tuesday for, again, a couple of months. It's going to be some really good action. Some really good teams got drafted tonight. It's going to be a whole lot of fun for a whole long while.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Well, hopefully that you'll tune in this upcoming Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to see both myself and Soren back on the casting desk for the official first game for LFA. It's gonna be a wild ride. I can already tell. It's going to be so fun.
Alrighty. Well, I think that's it. Sorry.